This is Mark O'Sullivan, straight in at full-back for Waterford in place of the injured Sean Cullinan, who failed the fitness test this morning. Elsewhere, it's the same as last Sunday up to the full-forward line, where Micheál White replaces Billy O'Sullivan. White comes in beside two of the Waterford stars of the drawn game, Anthony Kirwan and Paul Flynn. The surprise news from Clare is that wing forward David Ford has made a marvellous recovery from his eye injury and he plays. So too does Fergus Toohey, 4-point hero of the 1995 All-Ireland final win. So out of the Clare attack go Danny Scanlon and Eamon Tass. Elsewhere, Clare, the same again from 1 to 9. Conor Clancy is now at centre forward, however, and that releases James O'Connor for duty at left half forward today. There was drama even before the start here at Semple Stadium because referee Willie Barrett from Tipperary went over to have a word with one of the Clare mentors, and we do know that there are strict guidelines today on pitch incursions. It'll be fascinating to see how that works out. Once again, Willie Barrett is the man in the middle for a mighty Munster final replay confrontation between these great rivals, Waterford and Clare, great rivals of '98, and a mighty confrontation too between the elements in their full raging force, wind and rain, against the passion and pride of Waterford and Clare. And as Peter Queally walks away, referee Willie Barrett's attention is being drawn to something by one of his linesmen, Pat O'Connor from Limerick, and this may mean that referee Willie Barrett will speak to two players, James O'Connor of Clare and Brian Green of Waterford.
There has been a directive given today to the board county boards that any incursions onto the field are going to be severely stopped. There's 4 officials from the Munster Council to actually stop the incursions onto the field, and the only guys allowed onto the field today are Joel McCarthy and John Loughnane, and if it means Willie Barrett stops the play to get rid of this, he's going to do so.
That adds to the tension and the drama and the excitement. Now Tony Brown topped his first free of the day. Tony Brown, man of the match in the drawn game, and a chance for him to get his touch back. But Liam Doyle is there for Clare, so too the captain Anthony Daly in his 7th season as skipper of the team. Hard clash in the middle of the field. Fergus Hartley went for his first touch there, and this is Stephen Frampton, the Waterford captain, without a helmet today. Cut out by Liam Doyle, his 2nd touch of the game. And a first touch for Brian Flannery, who's playing at right full back. I can tell you, and this will be of particular interest to Waterford indeed, that Tom Feeney is playing at full back. Paul Flynn, his first touch, does well to stand his ground there and stay in play. He showed wonderful balance, then the ball ran away from him. First scoring chance of the day to Paul Flynn, off his left side, gloriously taken by Flynn. Well, we're so used to seeing Paul Flynn show ace marksmanship from frees, but this time from play, he found the target and he did have the room. That was the key factor. This is Davy Fitzgerald from 6 Mile Bridge, one of the top goalkeepers in the game. Stung by the goals he conceded the last day. Fergus Hartley for Waterford. One of the top centre-backs in the game, very strong man. To Peter Queally, who's also a very, very strong man. Good delivery by Queally. They're playing into the town goal, and the free will be where the ball lands, and it'll be a free to Waterford and Paul Flynn. Now the Waterford man down was Fergal Hartley. That led to the melee. Ken McGrath, Waterford number 11, is trying to sort it out through peaceful means. Dan Shanahan is there as well. And the officials are in the field. Now Peter Queally is not trying to sort things out there by peaceful means, nor his direct opponent, Colin Lynch. Colin Lynch is taken away from harm's area by the linesman. And Tomas Mulcahy has been watching this from the sideline as Micheál White and Brian Lohan get to grips.
Yes, Jim, there's been some individual battles all over the field, and it's going to be hard for the referee. I think he's the key man in the centre at the moment, and it's going to be a very, very good, difficult day for him.
Brian Lohan has indeed been sent off, and a Waterford man has gone off as well. That's Micheál White. Micheál White goes to the dugout, so Brian Lohan and Micheál White are off the pitch in the early minutes. Now, it's extraordinary developments, and indeed there are groups of players all around the field trying to sort things out, but eventually play goes on, and this is Dan Shanahan bidding to give Waterford a lead of 2 points to no score, but he's put that one across the face of the goal and wide. But right now, the hurling is taking second place to the drama and to the incidents all around the field. Who could have foreseen the drama of the early minutes? Absolutely extraordinary, astonishing. Clare with their first real attack of the game. Breaking to David Ford, going for a catch here. It's not taken in by Brian Flannery. And then the goalkeeper, Brendan Landers, has to come and avert a very, very dangerous situation. Brian Flannery is the Waterford number 4. David Ford slipping inside his man, was hoping to get a touch on that one. Out came Brendan Landers. Good goalkeeping. Sean McMahon stands over this 65. Brendan Landers, the Waterford goalkeeper, was happy to concede that one with Ford lurking. Shawnee McMahon then going for a point off the 65, and he's judged it beautifully. Now I can tell you that the wind, which blew right down the field last week, left to right towards the goal at the town end, is now blowing across the field towards Paul Flynn's corner, favouring the Waterford top of the left in the first half. So in the conditions and with the rain that we've had all day, that was a good score by Shawnee McMahon. Anthony Daly bats it down. Sideline ball will be to Clare. Only 7 minutes of play gone, and already the game is without Brian Lohan and Micheál White. Brian Flannery for Waterford. Good ball into Ken McGrath. Not quite at his brilliant best the last day, and that wasn't a good touch. He was clearly looking for Paul Flynn. Flynn had waited back, and Davy Fitzgerald was able to get in the clearance. David Bennett and Stephen Fanton there for Waterford. Fergal Hartley for Waterford. It's a point apiece in the replay. Well, Ken McGrath doesn't like that decision, but it's clearly given. Now a tremendous challenge there. Clash of the Ash in dramatic style as the ball came across. Liam Doyle then, Mr. Consistency in the Clare defence in the glory years from 95 to 98. This time it's a Waterford ball. Now the rain comes down once again over the immaculate sod of Semple Stadium. Brian Green beats James O'Connor to that ball. You don't always see that happen with James O'Connor. This a tester for Anthony Kerwin against the left full back Brian Quinn. Kerwin has it. He got 2 goals the last day. He can't take this one down, but he's got a point. There was danger there for the Clare defence. Kerwin 2-1 the last day. He started with the point. It might easily have been a goal. This was a great ball in after it was very well won out the field by Brian Green off James O'Connor. And Kerwin the scorer. Tony Brown attacking. Good control by Tony Brown at the second attempt. He judged it beautifully. And then a very good ball back to Peter Queally. Peter Queally high, handsome, over the bar. Great score. That'll boost the confidence of Peter Queally. Had to live a little in the shadow of the great Tony Brown the last day. But unselfishly, Tony Brown gives the scoring pass to Peter Queally. Now, the Waterford bench will be a little happier. They've started well today. They lead by 3 points to 1. The wind, not a huge factor now, is blowing across the pitch. And Waterford are doing the attacking. Anthony Kerwin, good pull towards Ken McGrath. Bidding to support the full forward line that doesn't have Michael White. Paul Flynn, lovely touch on his right side. He's got to get it onto his left, perhaps. Aiming for Ken McGrath, but well cut out. Good work in the Clare defence. As the ball came there from Anthony Daly, who was a captain there who led by example. Baker across field. The first touch for Niall Gilligan over at top of the right against Mark O'Sullivan, who was playing at top of the left. And a very good ball in by Gilligan from 6 mile bridge, and that's a brilliant point by the young man who battled hard to get the ball and did ever so well to put it back over the bar. So the banner's flying high again. Gilligan getting away from Mark O'Sullivan. A Waterford full-back line that doesn't have the injured Sean Cullinan, who was very good the last day. A huge crowd, a tremendous atmosphere. Lovers of hurling could hardly wish to be anywhere else in the world today but in Semple Stadium. where the players are giving it everything in difficult conditions. And Ollie Baker makes a great run. Now, he's swung over many a left-handed point, but that one went away from him. And there too was Fergal Hartley to show wonderful defensive resistance and wonderful skills to dispossess Ollie Baker and Winifred. Now there's the mark of a great centre-half back doing his primary duties to absolute perfection. The free taker is Brian Flannery, who's got the better of his tussle with Alan Markham so far, but it's early days, 19 minutes gone. James O'Connor, anxious to get into the game. Not quite as influential in these early stages as he was last week. Dan Shanahan there for Waterford. Trying to get it out to Kerwin. Kerwin, who's already got a lovely point, which he kicked. He's going for a second one, this time with the hurl, but he's put it across the face of the goal and wide. And the angle there didn't suit it, didn't suit a right-handed hurler hitting it right-handed. Davy Fitz is puck out. Caught by David Ford, but they was pushing off the ball. And Brian Green disputed the decision, but to no avail. It's a free to Clare in an eminently scoreable position, especially for a free taker of the marvellous prowess of James O'Connor from St. Joseph's Dura Bearfield. James, he strikes beautifully over the bar. Lovely touch, and that's much better now from James O'Connor and from Clare, and the banners flying high. Level pegging in the Munster final replay. Queally let it through to Dan Shanahan, chased by Fergus Toohey. Queally trying to get it in towards Bennett. Clear defence covering very well indeed. Liam Doyle, now he's getting himself into a little bit of trouble, but he did ever so well to go back there. He read that situation beautifully. It's just that he couldn't control the ball in very difficult circumstances. And the linesman has made his decision, and after that I think it was disputed by a mentor possibly, or maybe even a Waterford substitute. Well, it's a mentor, as Shane Ahern is down there, I think. And referee Willie Barrett will have to sort out what's happening there, because the umpire has made his decision. Willie Barrett is not happy that the Waterford man should be in there. Now, the Waterford man is not happy either. Unbelievable tension and drama in Semple Stadium. Brian Lohan sent off in the early minutes. Michael White sent off as well. Clare started the better. Now it's 3 points apiece. As much attention nearly on what's happening in the sideline and behind the goals as on the field. And I can tell you there will be a free here where the ball landed, because there was a foul on a Waterford player after the clearance was made. That Waterford player was Stephen Frampton. Brian Green's had a word with him to console him, to tell him to stay calm, and there it was just after the ball went. Ollie Baker, the Clare man, involved, and that one was probably accidental. Paul Flynn has had one lovely point from play so far. He's had to wait nearly 23 minutes for a chance from free, and he left it short. But David Bennett came in, picked up the pieces, and picked off the points. Paul Flynn would be a little embarrassed at the way that one fell short, but Dave Bennett popped up and saved Paul Flynn's blushes. Well taken and well cleared by Brian Green. Lovely ball taken out of the air by Anthony Kerwin. Kerwin taking on Shawnee McMahon, going by on his left side. Kerwin, would he ever go for a goal from close range here? Well, he's dragged to the ground. That's a bad foul on the Waterford man. Liam Doyle acknowledges it, but would you believe it, it's a free out, presumably for overcarrying, but Kerwin was ever so dangerous going through there. It was surely a goal he had on his mind. He was fouled, but Willie Barrett clearly now had deemed him to have overcarried. Waterford 1 point leaders in the 25th minute. 10 minutes to half-time. Championship hurling and football is 35 minutes a half. James O'Connor swings it towards Fergus Toohey. Fergus Toohey, not a good ball. Left it short and wide. Now, remember this. Waterford must have been hoping that Kerwin would go for a goal. Well, there was a tap across there by Shawnee McMahon. Didn't really make contact. Now, what happened here? Well, Kerwin came inside Liam Doyle. Doyle brought him down, and I don't know, and I'm sure you won't either, why that free was given out. So Clare may just be a little lucky to survive that one. Colin Lynch sweeping it past midfield. Very good catch by Fergus Toohey. Brian Flannery just got his eye back on it. Not enough, however. Ollie Baker in the middle of the field. Waterford defence playing well. Brian Green, he's playing exceptionally well. And a great clearance right down the middle by Green. Shawnee McMahon put his hand up, left it to Anthony Daly. Wonderful understanding between Daly and Shawnee McMahon. Brian Flannery with a bit of help from Mark O'Sullivan. Now Gilligan there for Clare as well. Gilligan has got one lovely point so far. He's going for a second one, but this one across the face of the goal. Well taken down. And a great clearance by Brian Green. And from Brian Green's clearance comes a run, a storming run by Dan Shanahan. 3-point hero the last day. Shanahan across the face of the goal and wide. And that is a wasted chance as Davy Fitz lets it over. And Dan Shanahan knows it. Well, Waterford have won a lot of ball over on that wing. And Conor Clancy, number 11 for Clare, isn't really influential in the first 27 minutes of this game. That's about the first smile, indeed, that we saw today. But would you believe it? Willie Barrett has overruled his own linesman, John Sexton. Now, John Sexton seemed to be sure here. Fergal Hartley, number 6. Tom Feeney, number 2. Conor Clancy there as well. And did it go off for Conor Clancy there? Well, Fergal Hartley seemed to be sure. Waterford thought it was their ball. So too did the linesman, John Sexton from Limerick. He managed to smile then. He's not smiling now. And he's still talking, at least, to his friend Willie Barrett. But Willie Barrett is content now to ignore whatever is happening in other parts of the pitch as the sideline ball comes across. Waterford are covering well in there. Tom Feeney to Fergal Hartley. Coming through with the clearance. Great support play by Waterford. Stephen Frampton. And what's been most exemplary in this game is the display of the Waterford defence. Their support play, their concentration, their thoroughness in dealing efficiently with everything they have to do as they get that ball forward. And that was a great rob in there by Colin Lynch. Ollie Baker and Peter Quiddy, two powerfully strong men. Conor Clancy trying to get into the game. Good ball across to Gilligan against Mark O'Sullivan. A pull of O'Sullivan's jersey, but no free. Gilligan goes to ground. O'Sullivan contests the ball. Hartley goes in. David Ford is there for Clare. It runs loose to Gilligan. There's a man free inside him. Can he get the ball across? He can! Oh, wonderful work by Brian Flannery. It's gone out for 65, but marvellous defensive work by Flannery. Once again, this man born in Tipperary. He's finding inspiration from playing in his native county. He knows Simple Stadium inside out, and he's showing that today. Now, forward play may be thrilling, but defensive play is also thrilling when it's of the standard of this. As Brian Flannery hurtled himself, body and all, hurdle and all, and did his job. You could cut the tension in Simple Stadium with a knife. As Shawnee McMahon, wonderful hurler, stands over this 65. 4 points to 3. Waterford the leaders. 4 points all, thanks to Shawnee McMahon. His second superb 65 of the Munster final replay. And we've had a half an hour's play. Fergal Hartley with the touch for Waterford. On to Fergus Toohey, who's active. He was in from the start, remember. Fergus Toohey dropping it in. And Brendan Landis kept his eye on it. Alan Martin watched for the break. There was no break. This should be Baker's. Knocked away from him by Peter Queally. Good work by Queally. Well pulled on. To David Bennett. Put out by Anthony Daly. Playing well in the Clare half-back line. Down to James O'Connor. For once he got away from Brian Green. He got first on. He got the free. Sean McMahon has hit two wonderful 65 so far. This time from a long-range free. McMahon finds the target again. 3 points to him. And if it's tight and sparse for the Clare attack, then McMahon is making up for it with great long-range free-taking. Once again, Waterford played Dan Shanahan's wing. Anthony Daly back covering. He's done a world of covering in the first half. James O'Connor versus Brian Green. This has been a marvellous tussle. It was all Brian Green for the first 20 minutes. James O'Connor's in it well now for Clare. He often has little valley periods like that, but he's incomparable when he's at his best. Fergal Hartley playing well in the heart of the Waterford defence, but he had to battle very hard there. David Ford has to battle hard against Mark O'Sullivan. Conor Clancy there for Clare as well. Away from him, away from the referee even. Peter Queally just misses it, goes in hard again, and Brampton with the pole, first time hurling. Sean McMahon against Ken McGrath. McMahon with the touch to stop the ball at least, but it breaks to Paul Flynn. Paul Flynn will try to create space for himself, and then attacking on the right wing of his right-hand side, it came off the upright. Could Paul Flynn get it back? No. Anthony Daly, short little ball to Ollie Baker, who picked up a lovely position. Ollie Baker up the left, and then back to Anthony Daly, knocked away by Paul Flynn. It was too tight for Ollie Baker to give that ball back. Frank Lohan under a bit of pressure. Paul Flynn goes in as well. Peter Queally there for Waterford. Baker there for Clare. It's hard, tough hurling. Brian Quinn is there for Clare. Dan Shanahan, the big man, won it to Dave Bennett, the little man. Shook off the challenge, shook off the shoulder, dipped his own shoulder, and hit the ball over the bar. Dan Shanahan did very good work here, and he was cool, he was composed as he spotted Dave Bennett, and Dave Bennett was cool, composed, balanced and accurate. We're just on the half-time mark, but remember that long stoppage for all the incidents all around Semple Stadium in the early minutes, and the sendings off of Brian Lohan and the Waterford right full forward, Micheál White. Alan Markham of Clare waits as James O'Connor strikes the free and strikes it beautifully. And Clare edge ahead coming up to half-time, 6 points to 5. Low scoring, but fascinating, utterly absorbing. Shanahan versus Daly again. They've both done well. Two good hurlers playing well on each other. Tony Brown, a good hurler too, although he hasn't been able to find the range today the way he'd like. Colin Lynch in the middle of the field for Clare. Balanced it nicely on the boss of his hurl. To Jamesy. Sweeps it infield towards David Ford. Brian Green there for Waterford. Good clearance by Mark O'Sullivan. To Tony Brown. Just in the middle of the field. Tops it. Flynn goes for it. And it's won in there by Liam Doyle. Great catch by Liam Doyle. Wonderful play by him. Tony Brown can't get a flick on that one. David Ford from O'Connell on Clare. Go towards Gilligan at top of the right against Tom Feeney. Gilligan, leggy, rangy type of player. Brave player too. Won't mind cutting in here. And doesn't as Hartley met him. And boy, did he meet him. Now here's Niall Gilligan coming in. Now Fergal Hartley, in fairness, did try to play the ball first time, and then the left leg went out. And down went Niall Gilligan. This is the joy of hurling, to be in Semple Stadium on a Munster final day, watching James O'Connor in action. A 2-point lead now. We're deep into injury time. And it is indeed half-time. And you hear the thunderous noise all around the grounds here in Thurles as referee Willie Barrett signals the break with Clare the leaders after a dramatic, tension-filled and incident-packed opening. A tension-filled first half finishes with Clare 2 points up, 7 points to Waterford 5. There are no changes on either side as we get ready for the resumption of the Munster final replay in a tension-filled Semple Stadium. another thrilling prospect as Willie Barrett gets them up and running, and Stephen Frampton gets the first good touch of the second half. Conor Clancy trying to win the drop. Hasn't really happened for Conor Clancy today, and you'd imagine the conditions would suit a strong man like him. Stephen Frampton, the Waterford captain, happy to win a relieving free. Frampton to take it. He's had a wonderful championship season. He was magnificent against no less a man than John Lahey in the defeat of Tipperary. Ken McGrath with Sean McMahon. McGrath touches it down, but McMahon studies ground well there. And McGrath still isn't really in the game. Anthony Kerwin, hero of the last day, shepherding it out. And then that ball put out by Colin Lynch to Fergal Hart to the other side against Conor Clancy, and Fergal Hart gets that ball down. Clare will surely make a change soon at centre forward, unless they trust Conor Clancy to get the better of Hartley. As David Bennett is fouled by Liam Doyle. Liam Doyle, that most accomplished of defenders, and his name has been taken, and he's upset by that. He pleads his case. David Bennett, the little man on the run, and Liam Doyle then finding it hard to get in a good telling challenge in the conditions.
Clare, I think, we're getting Ger Sparrow locked and ready to come into the fray. He's just gone back into the dugout to sit down again, but I'm sure in the next number of minutes we'll see him introduced into the match.
As Paul Flynn strikes that one for Waterford and puts it over the bar to cut it to one, and they really needed that score because they missed chance after chance in the first half. Often indeed chances from positions where they were under no great pressure, although it's a pressure-filled Semple Stadium. David Ford is now centre forward against Fergal Hartley. Ollie Baker on the left side, swinging left-handed. Tom Feeney just missed a cut there. Niall Gilligan came across just at 1 point from early on. Gilligan swings it in, and Brendan Landers has to be careful, and he was alert, he was vigilant, but Clancy gets it back for Clare. Clancy goes around to the right. O'Sullivan did well. O'Sullivan won it. Was it over the line? Well, the umpire is signalling that it's a 65. Landers is disappointed, but he shouldn't be. He got a great touch there. The Clare forwards are putting the Waterford defence under pressure. Gilligan got that ball across the face of the goal, and then Brendan Landers got it away. But from there, Conor Clancy won it against Mark O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan studies ground well, and then it went off Mark O'Sullivan's left hand, 65. This is the sturdy figure of Shawnee McMahon, one of the great stylists of backplay, as he gets that ball in, and it's gone in all the way. And Brendan Landers is distraught. It's a clear goal. Sean McMahon, 3 points to his name after the first half. 2 65s and a long-range free. What happened when that 65 came in from Sean McMahon? There was a stick, and it went in. Clare 4 points up. Playing with whatever wind advantage is there. Putting Tony Brown under pressure. Putting Fergal Hartley under pressure. That great man, Ollie Baker, back there for Clare. But Hartley's a great man for Waterford. So too is Brown. But there's only one forward there. Flynn goes into Kerwin. But it's won by Brian Quinn. And then lost by Brian Quinn to Anthony Kerwin, who battles his way through. He's brought to ground. He gets it to Dan Shanahan. The referee is giving the advantage, but Shanahan has to turn and twist, and then he loses it. And the advantage is gone right away. And right now, Waterford, I'm sure, would prefer a 20-metre free as Dave Bennett comes in, because the free will be harder to score from there. And you just wonder, this is fascinating. Had the decision been given by Willie Barrett, would Paul Flynn have gone for a goal? Well, I think you know the answer. I know the answer. And now, all Paul Flynn can possibly hope for is to take his point. Well, again, we question the entire philosophy, really, of the advantage discretion. It's not a rule. Because, again, Willie Barrett thought he was doing the right thing. He was letting the advantage accrue to the Waterford man in possession. No advantage accrued, and then it went right away, and now it's a point. But had the free been given, it might well have been a goal. and it's a goal. You feel that Waterford need not a point, but the point will do. It's early. It's only the 8th minute of the second half. And McMahon sweeps it left hand through the midfield. Hartley back there for Waterford, covering as always. Clancy won a good ball for Clare. He's in the game a lot more now. Ford on his favourite left side. Sweeps it over the bar, majestically. David Ford, the scorer. It's looking good for Clare now. Great work by Clancy. Wasn't all that influential earlier on. And then Ford would never miss from there. A sympathetic round of applause in Semper Stadium for Fergus Toohey as he goes off, replaced by Fergal Hegarty, who has a lot of championship experience. Fergal Hegarty from Kildamone is on. Now there's another melee breaking out, but referee Willie Barrett is in to sort it out. Brian Green against Ollie Baker. Baker the bigger man. Peter Queally is there too, a Garda based in Cork. And tension and determination and passion etched on the faces of these players. Ford versus Hartley. Ford of Clare, Hartley of Waterford. And Willie Barrett pleads this time for a bit of sanity and a bit of coolness. And this is Colin Lynch of Lissy Casey. Across to Baker. Baker of Dura Bearfield. And the big man goes forward, knocks Hartley out of the way. Frampton knocks his man out of the way. It breaks back to the middle of the field, to Anthony Daly. Always good for a point, usually from long-range frees. Feeney under a bit of pressure here as the Clare men slide in and get in there. Flannery there as well for Waterford. Clancy there for Clare. And then it's gone out for a 65 off Mark O'Sullivan. And Mark O'Sullivan will be very disappointed because last time at 65 was conceded off Mark O'Sullivan, a Clare goal followed. Shawnee McMahon. Clare love his regal splendour as a hurler. Yet another 65, yet another point for Sean McMahon, who strides back to his position with great pride and satisfaction and a job well done today. But there's a long, long way to go. Queally gets a good pull. Bit of help from Dave Bennett, who's trying so hard. More Waterford forwards will have to try as hard as Dave Bennett. Shanahan lets it run through to Kerwin. Kerwin to Tony Brown. Tony Brown will he try to get inside or take his point? Oh, he's fouled, heavily fouled. And it's a free in. And immediately, Waterford fans worry about Tony Brown and they wonder what Paul Flynn will do and can do here. As Waterford think about bringing in Sean Daly, good hurler, has waited patiently for his chance this season. Flynn was looking around perhaps for suction. Flynn takes his point. Takes his point. He knows there's time. That's a sign of Waterford coolness, and Waterford coolness on the line as well as on the field. So a big moment for Gerard O'Loughlin. The Sparrow is in. Perhaps Clare were saving him. The Clareman off is Conor Clancy. Played one very good ball all right in the second half, but otherwise he gave best to the magnificent Fergal Hartley. Brian Green just missed the jump at that one. And that ball in by Fergal Hegarty. And over the bar. And once again we see Clare substitutions working. Now what is it about Loughnane and Considine and McNamara? They make a move, it pays off. And the banner's flying. Clare win the ball. It breaks to Fergal Hegarty. And then it runs loose to David Ford. And again off his favourite left side. There's a point here for David Ford. Oh, this is a beautiful hurler. This young man has so much confidence, so much power, so much skill, and so much finishing ability. We saw that last year on a couple of big days. We're seeing it again today. David Ford of O'Gonalaw hits a clear point. And Gerard Loughnane knows that the dander is up now. Out comes Johnny McMahon again. Back to his absolutely brilliant best. And what a run this is by McMahon. And then he loses it. That so often happens. Tired legs there. Dan Shanahan. blocked by Liam Doyle. Control, swept away, all in one movement. That was beautiful hurling skill. That should go on an instruction manual the way Liam Doyle did that. As Gerald Loughlin gets it in. Brian Flannery with a catch. That should go on an instruction manual too. Can he get in the clearance? He does. Great play. Dan Shannon, look at the way he caught that ball. This is wonderful hurling. This is the beauty and majesty of hurling. David Fitzgerald to dodge the tackler and get in the clearance. What a passage of play. I just hope that this ends in a score. It deserves to, of either side. We wouldn't mind. Fergal Hartley. This powerful man. But a top clearance. Comes to Alan Markham. And he puts it over the bar. And a long, sustained passage of superb hurling ends in an Alan Markham point for Clare, the Banner County. Marvellous hurling. Don't mind the rain. Don't mind the wind. Don't mind these incredible conditions when we should have high summer in July. But here's Tony Brown bursting his way forward for Waterford. Gets a good ball to his right. That man is Kerwin trying to get in for a goal. He's brought to ground. And you just wonder, sooner or later, Waterford will have to get a goal chance from one of those frees. And Paul Flynn sooner or later will have to go for a goal. And Shawnee McMahon is booked, but cutting right across Anthony Kerwin there and bringing him to the ground. And there's no doubt about what Shawnee McMahon did there. And he'll acknowledge that his name had to go in the book. Now,
yes.
Billy O'Sullivan, so disappointed to lose his place today. Will he get a chance to show what he can do in the Waterford full forward line? He had a spell at centre forward the last day, but he's normally a top of the right. Well, Micheál White, who replaced him today, only lasted a couple of minutes. He was sent off. Gerald Loughlin, his team leading by 7 points. Minutes to go. Paul Flynn is going back with the look of a man who'll go low for a goal. Flynn drives it. Saved by David Fitzgerald. Put wide by the substitute, Billy O'Sullivan. The roars you hear are the Clare shout. Shanahan to the left. Flynn went for it. Didn't hit it all that well. Fitz put it to his left. Following up was Billy Sullivan. Couldn't put it in. Wide ball. David Fitzgerald from 6 Mile Bridge. A hero so often for Clare. And he loves it when the passions are rising, when the tension is rising. Brings out the best in the little man. Ollie Baker has had another great game for Clare. And that's a great score by a man whose very physical presence is inspirational to Clare and psychologically intimidating to any opposition. McMahon bats it down to Brown. Great ball by Brown. To Sean Daly, the substitute. Waterford need a goal. Is there a man to get that goal? It's Flynn, but he's missed it completely. And then it's taken away by Frank Lohan. Or Brian Lohan may be missing, but Frank, as he always does indeed, is flying the family flag with distinction and high honour. Hartley, Waterford's best man today, and maybe their bravest as well, but he couldn't get that one away. To James O'Connor. Lovely ball by James O'Connor. To Fergal Hegarty, going for his second point. Landers, a good eye. Good little run to get space for the clearance. Baker versus McGrath. You back Baker to win that one, the way the game is going today, and he does. To James O'Connor, who'd love to have more room, but then his hurling skill stands to him as he gets it to Colin Lynch, and Colin Lynch sweeps it but puts it wide. Brian Flannery of Waterford went to that ball, but it was won by Alan Markham. He just looked up, just for a fraction of a second. Now it's the Clare defender's turn to be under a bit of pressure. Tony Brown not quite as influential as he was the first day, but he did get a pretty hard knock early on. And he's got to acknowledge that Baker and Lynch are absolutely outstanding at midfield for Clare today. James O'Connor, lovely little run. Great block by Brian Green, but it comes to Niall Gilligan. Will he take his point to go for a goal? Goal, Gilligan! The big question is that it? Gilligan had the confidence and the finishing drive to put it in the net. Gilligan of 6 Mile Bridge, the Clare goal scorer. Oh, very well taken down by James O'Connor. Lovely ball to his right. Onto it comes Colin Lynch. Colin Lynch to go for his own score. And it's gone over off the stick of Brendan Randall. Good ball in by Colin Lynch. Great pass by James O'Connor. Lovely combination play by Clare. Now that ball came from James O'Connor and it was a beaut. And the drive by Lynch put Landers in trouble. He had no option. Well, this is like Clare versus Cork all over again. As the Clare forwards, including that man Gerald Aston, put the Waterford defence under pressure that they cannot resist. And the scoreline just shoots up now. And there's no way back for Waterford. That's a near certainty now because time is against them too. 5 minutes to go. Clare on top in all areas of the field. Tony Brown with the catch. Brave and defiant as ever. To the last. To Anthony Kerwin. Against Sean McMahon. Now who'll win this duel? Kerwin gets the knock inside. He needs help. He's got a bit of help. Waterford need goals. Liam Doyle is going to resist that. Good ball in. To Sean Daly, the substitute. But he has to turn the second time. And take the point. A good point it is too. But it's surely too little too late. Ken McGrath tries to get a touch. Oh, Ken McGrath should have won that ball. But really that's been the story of Ken McGrath's day. Paul Flynn won it back. Ken McGrath there to help as well. Then a good ball in. Towards Sean Daly. And it's gone high over the bar, but it's just 1 point short of the 3 that Waterford needed. Well, Ken McGrath has the consolation of a point, but it's nothing more than a mere consolation. On by Colin Lynch. And a good ball hit in by Brendan Hazelton. Brendan Landers there for Waterford. Sweep it down towards Anthony Kerwin. It was very well marked today and is very well marked right now by Sean McMahon. He'll no doubt turn inside. Well, he's got help from Ollie Baker. What better man to come and help a colleague in potential distress. And then a nice ball in to Fergal Hegarty again. Across the face of the goal, but wide. Kerwin versus McMahon again. Waterford ball. Tony Brown. Jay Skadens. They say the scores no Waterford can hope for now. Well, there's what they're playing for. And the Munster Cup is still a cause of great satisfaction and pride for whoever wins it. No matter what the backdoor system or any other system might indicate or might hint at. And Clare are determined to win that Munster Cup again today. They, after all, are the holders. They're also the holders of the All-Ireland Cup. Rory McMahon and Anthony Kerwin. They've had a great duel over there all during the last 15-20 minutes or so. And the referee will blow the final whistle. It's all over in Thurles. A game that started explosively ends in hugs and handshakes. And Ger Loughnane has a smile, the smile of victory. And the explosive nature of the beginning of this game gives way to sportsmanship and jersey swaps. Tony Brown and Colin Lynch have exchanged jerseys. That's a great note to end on. Fergal Hartley was magnificently defiant for Waterford, but it wasn't enough on the day. James O'Connor's free-taking and his passing were majestic as ever, as Clare retained their Munster title on a scoreline of 2 goals and 16 points to Waterford's 10 points. So, in his 7th campaign as team captain, Anthony Daly lifts the Munster Cup for the 3rd time in 4 years. On the banner!
All we were thinking about coming down today was winning this one, because we knew we were facing a tremendous Waterford team and a huge challenge. And Gerald had said already that he expected Waterford to up their performance by at least 20%, which they did. And, you know, we had to really put out all the stops in order to hold on to Waterford for most of the game. But the character of this Clare team is absolutely unbelievable. And I think whatever is questioned in the future, nobody will ever question the great character that this Clare team has.
Well, I suppose it was an explosive start, to say the least. Both sides are obviously very fired up for it, and you know, conditions were that bit slippier and trickier today, you know. But I suppose we maybe just adapted that bit better to the conditions.
The last day, I suppose there was a lot of criticism. We were disappointed in ourselves that we came down and we felt, you know, Waterford hurled really well on today, and we felt we didn't hurl as well as we could. So we were very keen today to come down and play well and do ourselves and the people of Clare justice. So everybody really hurled well today. It was a great team performance, and that was why we won it in the end.
Well, I mean, there was stuff going on everywhere, all over the pitch, not just back there, you know. And I mean, Brian was a huge loss. I think the referee just maybe picked 2 men, and Brian maybe happened to be the unlucky one to go, you know. But these things happen in sport, and you know, I think we had to knuckle down. And so maybe at half time, you know, we said to ourselves it was no way we were coming back in and facing Brian Lohan without the cup.
We're all to blame for what happened at the start. With the crowd, the management of both teams, the players, we were all so hyped up. There was something was bound to happen, and it was just one of those wild things that happened. I know a huge deal will be made out, but after slow motion television, there was nobody injured. There was a bit of wild swinging. After that, the game settled down. We had a feeling before the game started that there would be a slight scuffle at the start, and there was. But after that, the game settled down. There wasn't a dirty stroke in it after that. It settled down into a tremendous game.
Your half-back line cut out a world of ball there. That must have been uplifting for the team.
Yeah, I think our half-back line started to get on top, particularly towards the end of the first half, you know. And I think Shawnee in particular held the middle together very well. And you know, once your half-back line is on top, I mean, the ball is coming up the field, and you know, it opened up a bit in the second half, and we got the couple of goals. I suppose it kind of managed to put a bit of daylight between the two teams.
Ger, what are you feeling for Brian Lohan?
Well, sure, I mean, he wasn't playing today, but he was the inspiration for us to win the game, you know. We said at half-time, how could we come back in at the end of this game having lost it with Brian Lohan being on the sideline? It was unthinkable that a man who has contributed so much to Clare, who has been the cornerstone of our revival, of our 2 All-Irelands, that a man like that could be left in the dressing room this evening disappointed. We just couldn't contemplate something like that happen. And that was the real inspiration for us giving him that second half performance today.
Hard luck. It was a good effort from Waterford, certainly. Does that give you some pleasure?
Well, I tell you, it was a superb effort by Clare in the second half. They really produced a fabulous performance there, and we had no answer, to be quite honest.
Do you think you've learned from today?
I would hope so. We have to be out again next week, so let's hope we learned from it. There was a good lesson to be learned out today by Clare and us.
Well done, Jack.
Yes, well, Waterford know it now. They had their chance the last day, and a team like Clare is unlikely to let a warning like that go by them unknown. From the start, even before the start, because the drama started as soon as the teams came out in the field nearly.
I must say, Michael, I really enjoyed it. It was probably the game of the year for me so far. Willie Barrett was probably under instructions, and everyone's been put back into their box, shall we say, into the dugouts, and he came over straight away. It seems only Gerald McCarthy won't be allowed out. He's on here to Tony Constantine. Mike Mackey, the cube man, stands back, and of course he walks off. But at this stage, unknown to Willie Barrett, the boys are lined up midfield and they're jostling for positions. And of course that's always dangerous, because again, now before he throws in the ball, he's going to speak again to the wing forward and wing back. And Colin Lynch at this stage, if you watch close, he really goes to town on Tony Brown. And Colin is lucky because again, while Willie is off talking to the wing forward, wing back, there's pushing and hustling on for position. But like when you see the throwing coming in here, like the referee is looking at it, and there he gets it right across the leg, and again it just Colin has gone pure wide and he's just flaking everywhere. Now he's very lucky. Willie does stand in and gives away a free, but you can see here it gets one in the back on Tony Brown. Turns around here, I don't know, does he catch his own man here, Ollie Baker, but here again now he draws twice and he catches right across the calf, the muscle of Peter Queally. Now Queally doesn't flinch. Willie runs in and gives a free in, okay, cuts it out, but the atmosphere has been set before that, and like, you know, worse is to follow.
That was a particularly robust throw into that particular match. You see a lot of incidents like this, though, in hurling matches. Is there not a case for maybe having a toss and having one team puck out the ball in the first half and the other in the second?
Michael, it's logical. It makes sense. There should be no throws in at all midfield because you'd cut out all that kind of stuff. Lads are hyped up. You could see, I knew Colin Lynch coming out was going to be geared up because Tony had a fantastic game the last day. You could cut it out, have a toss. Clare takes if they win the toss, takes the puck out the first half. Waterford have the second half, and you cut out all this jostling. And it's an unsavoury incident like that. Okay, the fellas, you know, got over that, and they shook hands afterwards, and it was all, you know, kind of good sportsmanship after that. But like anything could have happened there.
Was there something that the referee might have done right on the spot there? Because, I mean, he was looking at it and he was seeing players being struck across the legs. No matter how tense the start of the match might have been, still fouling.
Yeah, still fouling. It was you see, Michael, Ger Lucknan made a reference to there in his interview, like, it was tense even during the week leading up to it because the psychological warfare had begun and like all the lads were hyped up. And when Willie Barrett had to go to speak to the lads in the line and go to speak to the wing back, you see even here he's after being away and so he lets it in fast. But the fellas had been there 2 or 3 minutes before this jostling for position. All this probably wouldn't have happened. Now it's unsavoury, it doesn't look good for anyone to see, like, but Colin Lynch was lucky because like young Scallon from Wexford got sent off for wild pulling in All Ireland final 2 or 3 years ago Wexford, like, and you know, Colin was lucky there that he didn't get more than that. It was just a free given against him.
However, a sending-offs did come very quickly after that, and I suspect this might have been a follow-on from what happened at the beginning of the match, although Brian Lohan unfortunately set himself up on this because once you swing the stick, you're now a candidate to go. Yeah,
whoever acted next was going to go because the atmosphere is very, very tense. Now here's Peter Queally giving a good ball in. He's tackle late there, Ollie Baker. Ollie did that a few times, tackle late. Now the whistle is gone. Now young Micheál White gets the ball here and he runs away, even though the whistle's gone, and Brian comes in after him and it just kind of tackles him here. They kind of square up to him, throws him away, and he kind of draws a clip with the hurl. I don't think he actually hits him, but like he had to go, like both of them were going to go after that. And like it was unfortunate to see that, like, say, kind of a scrum, which you don't like to see in hurling. This is still in the first few minutes of the Munster final. It's kind of blood and bandages stuff, really, even though there was no dirty belt as such in it. But Willie Barrett took a grip in the game, 2 boys gone. Like, young Micheál White is very new to the game. Brian Lohan would have been leading by example to the Clare team, like a great player, fantastic leader, and he will feel disgusted to be sent off. But I would think that Clare used as a motivation factor in the second half.
Of course, yeah. Well, as Ger Lucknan said after that, I mean, the game settled down into what we saw as to be a real good spectacle of a hurling match. Who did you pick as your man of the match in this game?
Well, I went for, you know, the half-back line of Clare was fantastic. The 2 wing-backs like Dial and Daly were great. Midfield, Colin Lynch really got stuck in and got on top of Tony Brown. The Baker took up where he left off the last was very good. The Clare forwards never get praised, but they're a great unit. Again, they got a lot of scores. But to me, the man of the match today, like, was Sean McMahon. He had some great scores. When Clare needed him in the first half, he got long range frees from out there.
When Galway then played in the Munster Championship,